Today, folks, I'm in the New Forest, a beautiful part of the country, full of some fairly well-to-do people and lots of really nice places to go and eat. So where have I picked to come? I'm in Lymington. This is right on the coast. You can get a ferry from here across to the Isle of Wight, something I am still planning to do at some point during 2026. But you know what? I've not come to go to some country pub or some swanky hotel. I'm outside of Waitrose, and this is their cafe, the Wait and Rose Cafe. Why they don't just call it the Waitrose Cafe is beyond me, but there we are. So, we're going to get inside and see what it's got to offer now. Of course, Waitrose is kind of a little step up from your average supermarket, so whether they let me in dressed like this, who knows? They might say I'm too scruffy and boot me out and send me on my way. The Waitrose is always a little bit more expensive than your Tesco's or your Asda's, and definitely a lot more than your Aldi's and your Lidl's. And they pride themselves on having some really nice produce and some stuff that you don't get in the other supermarkets. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates into their cafe. Let's get inside and find out what they got to offer, shall we? So folks, in and seated. And I've got to say I quite like it in here. Designed it very, very nicely. There's probably seating for about 70 or 80 people, I'd say, in this cafe. So it's not a small one. Basically, you just queue up like most cafes. There's a selection of cakes and whatever. I've not gone for any of them today. You know, I've got to look after the old figure, haven't we? I've gone for some savoury items. I've gone for a bowl of soup with a bread roll. I've gone for a jacket potato with tuna and sweet corn. And one of their new flatbread toasties. Was it pesto, mozzarella and tomato, I think. A nice little selection there. Nothing that involves an awful lot of cooking. Didn't seem to be anything along those lines. There's nothing here with, you know, what you cast as a main meal. It's all kind of snackier kind of stuff. Jacket spuds about as close as you get to a main meal. But that's okay. That's what it is. That's what it is. What will count is how good it is. Now, price-wise, I don't think it's too bad. So I've ordered that toasty at £6.25. The jacket potato with tuna and sweet corn, just £5.50. Sounds reasonable to me. And the soup, £4.50, and a roll on top of that is 50p. Normally, the roll is £1. They have something a little bit more artisan, but they've run out, so they've just got normal crusty rolls today. So they're doing them for half price, 50p instead of £1. I think that's fair. So yeah, looking forward to trying this. Got myself a little number here, number 5, and I'm going to bring it all over when it's ready. Okay, folks, my food has been delivered to my table. All 3 things at the same time. I was kind of hoping I might stagger them a little bit, but it is what it is. So we've got the soup here. Now, this might surprise you. Cream of mushroom soup. They had mushroom or minestrone. I don't mind mushroom soup. I quite like it. It's the texture of mushrooms I don't get on with, not the flavour. This is the toasty here. It's probably the least inspiring looking of the items. I'm not quite sure what this bread is. It's not a ciabatta. It's got some funky name. It was getting a little bit sweaty on that plate there, so we'll turn it over a little bit, and hopefully that'll evaporate off a touch. And we'll move him out of the way for a second. And then we've got this jacket spud here with the tuna and the sweet corn, and a really quite attractive looking little plate of salad next to it. I like the look of that. Posh butter too, look at that. President. You know you're somewhere half decent when you're getting butter like that. The only problem I find with jacket spuds in that situation, though, they've dumped the topping on there. How are you going to get the butter into it? You've got to put the butter in first. Who knows? Anyway. He's going to get out of the way as well for a second. Soup is a starter, isn't it? So we're going to go with the soup. Crusty bread roll here, not the sort of artisan-y one that I would have had they had any. Get a little bit of this bread buttered up. Come back in a second. Okay, here we go then, folks. Soup spoon at the ready. I have some seasoning here, should I need it. Little packets of salt and pepper. I tell you what, this mushroom soup, though, it's a reasonable little bowl. No, not a huge one, but I've got to say, it smells really rather good. Can you see it there on the camera, the colour of it? Let's have a look at the consistency. Good to note there's no great big chunks of mushroom in there, because that would be somewhat off-putting. So I might have to be really careful of when I make soup at home, the mushroom soup anyway, that I blitz it properly. Nothing worse than eating a mushroom soup, you're really enjoying it, and then all of a sudden, squelch. Certainly very, very warm. Nice flavour to it too. Not the punchiest mushroom soup I've ever had. Yeah, when I make it at home, you kind of fry the mushrooms first just to get that bit more depth of flavour into them. I like it though, it doesn't really need any seasoning either. Very good, let's try this bread roll to go with it. It's nice and peppery. Could do with a crouton or two, that's one thing I really like in soups. But we'll make do with the bread roll. Very, very fresh. I love that butter. Whenever we're in France, I always buy it. For some reason I don't at home, even though you can get it in Tesco and whatever. Maybe I should start. That's really nice. And when you think, on a cold winter's day like it is today, you can come in here, get a bowl of this soup. Yeah, maybe you're coming to do your shopping, or maybe you're just passing by. Soup and a roll for £5. I think that's pretty good, to be honest. I think that's pretty good. Right, let's swap around a little bit. I am coming back to that now. So tell you what, that's really tasty. On to this. Now this is something that probably would go quite nicely with a bowl of soup, but probably more so with the minestrone soup that was the other soup on offer. Because this has Italian flavours in it. Oh, come on. Now I saw this was already packaged up. It was in like a little cold fridge kind of thing, wrapped in cellophane, and they've just basically taken it out to warm it up in an oven. Like I say, it's a little bit soggy underneath. Mary Berry wouldn't be happy, would she, with a soggy bottom? Inside looks all right, though.
It suggests.
So the top is a little bit crispy. The bottom is quite soggy. Inside there, I mean, you can see the cheese here. A little bit stringy. The tomato, I mean, there's not a huge amount of it in there. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of flavour. I don't know if they're better off using sun-dried tomato or something. The pesto's good. Not overpowering. I think sometimes when you put pesto into things, it's one of those things that can just take over a touch, can't it? But here, they've balanced that quite well. The bread, I reckon, if it was cooked off a little bit better, would work really well. It's similar to a ciabatta. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, again, a little bit of garnish on the plate or something, just to zhuzh it up. It's the most expensive item I've got here, £6.25. And while it's tasty enough, you know, I'm not going to write home about it. Okay, before I move on to this jacket spud, I just want to mention a couple of things that I thought was pretty good inside this little cafe. First of all, obviously you walk in, there's a whole fridge full of drinks and whatever. But if you bypass that, you can come over and there's like a little tap there and some glasses, and you can help yourself to free water. So no need to buy an expensive bottle of mineral water in that situation. Here we go. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about is a little kind of library section in here. It basically says, take a book, leave a book. So if you want to sit down and have a little read while you're having your lunch or waiting for it to come over, there's a little library section there. And the idea is, obviously, you just bring a book in, drop it off, and you can take another one away. Nice little touch, that. Okay, so moving on to this. I've put a little bit of salt on the salad. There's no mayo or anything. So I don't know, it might end up being a little dry. Fresh enough, though. And funnily enough, these tomatoes, little cherry ones, do actually have quite a nice flavour. Good mixed leaves there. Looks like some rocket, some spinach. I mean, it looks a bit like lamb's lettuce. And again, fresh. Rocket added a nice little peppery note there. Yeah, I don't mind it. So just a little dressing or something on there. French dressing, bit of mayo. Certainly wouldn't go amiss. Okay, there was a bit of a knife shortage at the cutlery station, so I only picked up one, so I'm going to use the same one as I used to cut the toasty open, and we're going to go in for this jacket spud. Now, I mean, this isn't a huge spud, but I think it's perfectly adequate, again, for the price. £5.50 this is, with the tuna, with all the salad and everything. But I don't think it's unfair price-wise. You know, it's not the sort of spud you're going to expect to find at Spudman or Smoky Mo's more locally down here. Let's try it. I mean, the spud should be crispier. There is almost no crisp on that skin at all. It's cooked quite well, and it's still reasonably warm, but not incredibly warm. Although that may be because, you know, I've been chatting a while, but, you know, when I have a jacket spud at home, I mean, they keep hot for a long time, don't they? The tuna mayo needs a little bit of help. Just a bit of seasoning. I think pepper will be fine. I don't think it needs salt. Let's try that now. Yeah, that makes a difference. Straight away makes a difference. This tuna mayo is clearly something that's made up off-site. They'll just bring it in great big tubs of it, won't they? But it's good. It's tasty enough. They had cheese ones. You can have one with baked beans. I'm not sure how well a baked bean one would work with this salad on the side, to be honest with you. But with the tuna, it's really rather good. Not the best jacket spud I've ever had. Like I say, the actual cookery of the spud could be improved, but £5.50. I'm not going to complain too much. Anyway, I'm going to make my way through these items here, and then we'll pop outside and sum up. If you delve back through the vaults of Greeno Eats, you'll find I've done some other supermarket cafes. I did a few in Morrison's back in the day, one in a Tesco cafe, even Home Bargains more recently. And I got to say, this felt a notch or two, maybe even 3, up from some of those. The place itself, nice and clean, really very friendly, well turned out staff. And it was a pleasure to go in and eat there, to be honest with you. The one place, you know, you can kind of compare it to almost like for like is Marks and Spencer. And I got to say, when I did a Marks and Spencer's cafe prior to last Christmas, Christmas 24, I wasn't impressed. I thought it was overpriced and I didn't think it was very good at all. This, I think, is pretty fairly priced. And whilst it's not perfect in certain areas, it was good enough, let me tell you. Let's think about the items we had, and I'm going to rank them from sort of worst to best, I think. My least favourite was the toasty. Tomato, pesto, mozzarella. And that sounded really appealing to me. It just wasn't done very well. Brought in, pre-packaged, in cellophane. Obviously either wasn't heated up enough to get crispy everywhere, or because it was just put on that plate, you get that kind of toast sweat underneath. And also the flavour wasn't quite there. The pesto was quite nice, the tomato was lost. Yeah, and it was the most expensive item I had at £6.25. I'd probably avoid that one. That's no more than the sort of 5 out of 10 item for me. Next up, in second place, we're going to go with the jacket potato with tuna. I like the salad on the side. Again, a dressing would have been nice on there. Potato could and should have been crispier on the skin. The filling, again, although obviously pre-made somewhere else, had a good flavour. Just needed a little bit of pepper just to zhuzh it up a touch. But it was nice. And £5.50 for that with that salad garnish? I think that's more than fair. I'm going to say that's about a sort of 7 out of 10 item at that kind of pricing. My favourite though, and the one you wouldn't have expected me to eat on the channel probably, the mushroom soup. Nice and hot, a good flavour. Like I say, it's a little bit, not wishy-washy, because that's wrong. Not as intense as one I would make at home, but it did have a good flavour and I enjoyed it and I ate the lot. The bread roll with it, whilst it wasn't the one they normally give you, worked perfectly well. £4.50 and then 50p for the bread roll. I think that's really good value. Really good value. So overall, I've paid £16.75. Oh, I scored a soup. I scored the other two, didn't I? I think for a £5 that soup is probably about a 9 out of 10. Honestly, it was really tasty. So where does that put us overall? We've got a 5 out of 10 for the toasty, a 7 out of 10 for the jacket spud, and a 9 out of 10 for the soup. So you average that out, that gives you a 7. But I'm going to mark it up to about a 7.5 because I think the staff were really, really nice in there, really friendly. And it was a nice environment to sit and eat. And I like the little touch about the library and all that kind of stuff. So I'm giving that a 7.5 out of 10. And I think that's probably about as good as any of my supermarket cafe experiences have been. Probably better, to be fair. Does it get Greeno's green light? Do you know what? Don't eat the toasty. And yeah, I am giving it a green light. I think for the money, it's really good. And I expected Waitrose to be a little bit pricier, to be honest with you. So yeah, happy enough with that. Greeno's green light, 7.5 out of 10. Done. Where are you going to find me next, folks? Who knows? But if you've enjoyed this one, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ding your bell for notifications, like the video. That's what that should have been, shouldn't it? You'd think after nearly 400 videos I'd have this off to a T by now, but no. Still amateur hour here, isn't it? But take a look around the vault, see what else you enjoy, all that good stuff. Right, I'm off. Wonder if I see any New Forest ponies on the way home. Maybe, they're blooming everywhere around here. I'll see you next time, folks. Bye for now.